I think it's really important to examine the source.
Mm.
So for me, the source is always the key. Because if you
Mm.
find the source, you find what sits in behind it.
Mm.
A lot of people don't want to look at the source. They'll acknowledge there's corruption, but they don't want to, or that there's demons, or
Mm.
that there's s- witchcraft,
Mm.
or those kind of things. Like anyone who uses Ouija board knows it's connecting with spiritual powers,
Mm.
but they don't want to acknowledge where the spiritual powers come from.
Mm.
And that's because they don't want to acknowledge that there's a good and an evil.
Mm.
They will say there's evil, and they'll say there's good. So what classifies good and what classifies evil?
Mm.
And so people, they don't want to answer that question because it avoids the necessity of having to realize that there is only one way for man to be saved,
Mm.
and
And
that's
also
through Christ.
change, I guess. 'Cause I
And
don't want to
yeah,
change.
and also I found that with the occult stuff, is there's no price up front. It's all like it's amazing stuff. It's all good,
Ah.
and it hooks you in.
Right.
And then once you're hooked in, you can't get away from it
Mm.
because now you're tied to it.
Mm.
Where the difference with this and Yahweh himself and Christ as the doorway is that through Christ himself, the cost is up front where there's an exchange. He's already paid
Mm.
to give it to us. Ours is a place of yielding to him so that he can apply what he's given to us.
Mm.
And then there's cost now, and the reward comes later,
Mm.
where our rewards are going to come in our life and also through our journey.
Mm.
And at the end of our day, when Yahweh reveals himself in full measure in creation, it's going to unlock for us, and our rewards will be seen fully then.
Mm.
It doesn't say we don't receive rewards now, because goodness and mercy, riches and honor, all these things that the scriptures talk about that are part of our journey, the abundance of life, not just financially, but and I don't believe in the that doctrine of abundance. What I do believe is that there is nowhere in scripture does it say that Yahweh rejoices in the poverty of his people.
Mm.
It always talks about the abundance, the overflow. And so the reward for me is seeing the overflow of this,
Mm.
not only in my life, but in my family's lives, and
Mm.
in things that are so important for fruit.
Mm.
And being connected to familiars is not a nice thing. They, again, no price up front. You get connected, and then very slowly it starts to turn where you now get directed instead of connected, and then you have to do what they tell you, or else you get beaten up.
Right.
And so,
So it's about the source. So
so there's a righteous way,
Mm.
and there's an unrighteous way.
Mm.
And the problem about them is they look very, very similar.
Mm.
Because Lucifer can't create anything of his own. He uses the pattern of the fabric of what was there, but corrupts it and puts his own thoughts in it, which of course is what he did. And so that's by his wisdom and by his understanding, he's gotten riches in his treasuries, but there was no knowledge of Yahweh in it.
Mm.
And so in the occult world, there's no knowledge of Yahweh. It's all about what I can do in my own understanding.
Mm. It's actually a very selfish
Oh, very much so.
process.
A lot of it today is also about, the focus on wanting to become one in the face of the earth. And that's all, of course, a deception for being one in Yahweh himself, where I get born again out of become one with him and one with those that believe, instead of actually trying to become something I'm now doing.
That's actually quite Buddhist too, I think. Isn't the
It's got
Nirvana, because
a
Nirvana is
whole,
like getting better until you reach the space of becoming consciousness,
yes.
which is, I guess, the same. Does occult and New Age stuff stem often from Buddhism, or is it just a bit of a mix?
Well, a lot of it stems from more of the dark stuff in Egypt. The necromancy, the sorcery, the blatant witchcraft, the human sacrifices that would go on to get the power and to unlock those things and give them away here in creation to the door of the bloodletting of humanity. If you look at Elijah on the top of Mount Carmel, you have all the sorcerers and all of the witches and witchcraft people and all of the
it's one of my favorite stories.
prophets of Baal,
So funny.
doing their thing, bouncing around, cutting themselves, shedding blood, trying to make fire come down on the altar. And Elijah gets really mad, and really it's like you. I love it when the original language where he actually says, perhaps your God is urinating against the wall somewhere and can't hear you, or sitting under the latrine. That's actually in the original language. It's hilarious. It's not how do you call it, translated that way, but perhaps your God can't hear. The word can't hear actually means he's sitting on a toilet and is deaf because the door's closed and he's busy. And so, it was a real mockery of the corrupt side of the religion that was operating in which was Baal worship, really. And so, and of course Elijah does his thing, dismantles the altar, reassembles what it was. So the thing about it is it reassembles what was there. He didn't get anything new. So he just reassembled what was there in divine order, took the corruption out of it and pours water on it, and then goes, Yahweh, light the fire, and of course Yahweh does, and
all the water's gone.
Yeah. Well, not only that, it's fascinating looking at the scriptures and seeing what the fire did, because it frames it very specifically: the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, the water, and even the dust.
True.
So, and it says it consumed it all, which actually deals with every single facet of our personal lives.
True.
Everywhere where there's been a sacrifice to something else, the journey to that thing, the altar we've laid our lives on, the water of the provision that thing's been to our lives, and then even the dust, which is the record of the connection to humanity, which of course is the dust that we were created from, that is Lucifer's food, according to Genesis 1. Dust shall be your food forever. So even that record is consumed within the fire of Yahweh. That's why God, because He doesn't take our side, He just takes over. That's, I think, the thing I love about Him more than anything is He takes over. He doesn't take our side on matters. We say, Lord, come, and He goes, yep, okay, and He comes, and we expect Him to take our side and make it right, and He doesn't. He takes over and deals with us.